But really, that's going to be kind of our basis and foundation for the escape hatch. Right? Hey, what up, y'all? This Pigtail Finance. Wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about early retirement, some FIRE principles. Let's go into the escape hatch, right? This is something I've wanted to touch on in the last couple of videos, and I've sort of gotten deviated with other things. So I'm going to try to stay a little bit focused here. Escape hatch. This is that we've come to the conclusion. Corporate world is demotivating. It is soul sucking. I think if you looked up the definition of a soul sucking activity, it is working in a job you hate. I'd challenge them to argue that. So anyway, we've decided we need to change. We gotta see some hope out there. What can we do? What can we do? Well, here's the escape hatch, y'all. Here's the escape hatch. What you're going to do is leverage a couple different things, right? We're going to leverage compounding interest. We're going to leverage investing in index funds. And we're going to leverage budgeting and our expense management. From a very high level, that's sort of the principles that are going to be the bedrock of our foundation. We will talk a lot more into detail about what each of those means. But basically what we're going to get to from a high level perspective is how do I say it the correct way? Leveraging the 4% rule, which is a study that was done in the Trinity College, I believe in Texas, by a handful of college professors. What they ended up finding is they went through every single year of the stock market and they looked at what your growth would have been. So they did one, let's say for 1920 and going forward. They did one starting on the Great Depression and going forward. And they've done them through like the 80s and up to through the 90s, I believe. And they just kind of said, hey, if you would have invested X amount of dollars at this point, what would it have grown to? And if you would have started at this age and retired at this age, by pulling out this amount of money, would you have ever gone bankrupt? Would you have ever run out of money? And by doing that, they came up with some really interesting concepts. The first one is what is just kind of generally called the 4% rule. This means that let's say you stop today and you've got $100,000 in your bank account. You're going to need more than $100,000, but let's just for the round numbers, $100,000. That means that you can pull out $4,000 a year forever and never go broke. Okay, stock market's always going to be earning you. I mean, there's going to be some down years, but we're talking about the trend. Is always going to be earning over that 4%. So, and that includes inflation. That includes some of those types of things. So, and kind of as a smaller caveat, that 4% is on the low end. That's a very conservative number. That includes the year of the Great Depression, which would have been the worst year to retire at. The amount of money that you lost in the stock market that year and then started pulling out from would have been the most impactful negatively. So 4% is really the conservative number. Our current averages where we've been for the last 20 to 40 years, it's closer to 5 and even up to 6%. So I like to use the 4%, just kind of knowing, hey, I'm on that floor level of the amount, and I'm on the very conservative level. And if I did want to take a year and take 5% out or 6% out, I could. It's not really going to hurt you. But really, that's going to be kind of our basis and foundation for the escape hatch, right? For getting you out, you're going to need about 4% withdrawal rate off of your investment account, your nest egg. Some people call this your nest egg. A larger number, let's say it was $1 million. That means you can pull out $40,000 a year. So now we can kind of talk from a high level about the expenses and how that ties in. If you guys aren't currently doing this, I would love for you to start tracking every single dollar that you spend, okay? It sounds a little intense, but there's a lot of apps out there that will help you. I personally, I'm a little old school. I did it on Excel, and even sometimes on paper. I'd have a calendar. I'd print out 12 pieces of paper, one for each month, and I was writing in every single expense. Hey, I went and got gasoline today, $35. Hey, I did, what would be another random expense? Maybe you got some groceries. Here's another $45, something like that. But the nice thing is I could really quickly start to say, on average, I spend $70 a month on gas. On average, I spend $100 in electric. And I was able to start to baseline all of my expenses. And initially, what's really nice about some of this stuff is you can see where you're blowing your money, okay? Going out to lunch every day, that's blowing your money, guys. Like, I'm sorry. I like some of this stuff, I might be a little bit, at least my advice is a little bit more on the strict side and restrictive side, but that's only because I want it out of the office. Like, if you want to go over to the Mongolian grill and get some really good food made for you and spend $10, maybe 12 with the tip and everything, dude, you can. But you start adding up those $12 that you're spending, and you get into hundreds pretty quick, and then thousands after that, right? So we'll talk about what that $1,000 could have made you had you invested it. But once you start changing that way of thinking, you start to understand, like, wow, I really don't want to blow my money. I work really hard to get this stuff. And now that I've got this money, I need to make sure it's making me money. I can't go spend it on stupid things. So, that was one of my big ones that I found, was just spending way, way, way too much eating out and eating at restaurants. So, you guys will find different things with your spending habits. It could be shoes and purses for some of the females out there. Guys, we kind of spend it on golf, maybe sports games, online gambling, restaurants, beer, going out to the bar, stuff like that. So I'm not saying that you can't do it, but there's real smart ways that you can do it, right? Like dollar beer night, buy one, get one free coupons to a restaurant. Hey, I went to my favorite restaurant last week, Benihana's here in Denver, and it was this month I get a birthday coupon from them. So my better half and we went, and she paid for it because it was my birthday. But normally on a situation like that, we'd probably just split it in half. I mean, what are we talking, like $18 each, for Benihana's? Like, that's pretty good. That's a lot better than spending $100. So anyway, that's kind of that thought on expense management. But what you're going to get to is you're going to start to see, here's your baseline expenditures. This is what you pay in your mortgage, your utilities, your phone, gas, car, insurance. Basically all the stuff when you've really trimmed out the fat from your budget. What I'm seeing is a lot of people kind of fall around $2,000 a month. I was able to get mine a little bit lower, but there's people out there with 2 or 3 kids, and they're down to $2,000 a month, y'all. So I think that's kind of a good number to aim for. You know what I mean? But you'll find your own comfort level. It might be a little more than that. It might be a little less than that. Whatever you want. But the less money that you need to spend every month, the less money you have to save for retirement before you get to your numbers. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the number in the next video. But that's kind of the principle that we're going for. It's the 4% rule. Another way of flipping around that math is 25 times your annual spend. Please. So anyway, guys and girls, I hope that you guys are enjoying these videos. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about in the future, but I really hope this is adding value to you and giving you hope that there is a better lifestyle waiting for you out there, and you will get there. Be positive. Put together an action plan. Keep following these videos. If you do, click like, click subscribe. Leave some comments below. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, what you'd like to hear more of. I'm reading this stuff a lot, so I take that into account very seriously. But love you guys. Pieces. It's Pigtails Finance. Until we meet again.